reached my technical limit when it comes to engineering. I mean, I was a sound engineer for a long time, but in a lot of ways that's a different skill to recording. I did a lot of recording when I very first started, but things have changed so much. When I came back to recording, it took me a good few years to get to the comfortable level of being able to record my guitar and bass and drums and stuff, which is guitar's my main instrument. So the first few years when I started engineering, I didn't even record audio. In other words, I didn't record bass or anything that wasn't electronic and already on a synthesizer, on a computer, like a soft synth or something. So the first few years I was just recording orchestral stuff with, huge synthetic string orchestras and things like that, and doing some dancey stuff and my own weird stuff and some jazz and things like that. So it took me a while to get confident recording electronic stuff before I started to even think about audio. And then when I started recording real instruments, I realized what an actual challenge it was to make it sound half decent. So there's all these steps that I've gone through in recording. I mean, some of my first audio recordings on bass and guitar, I'll play you some of them, were atrocious. They were not good at all. And it stands as an example comparative to my program stuff, the electronic stuff, that how difficult it was when I first started to learn how to even think about how to do this properly. So, and then I started recording audio, and I think the key to it is just to keep doing it, and have an idea of what you want it to sound like a record, if you want to call it that, and just keep recording and fine-tuning. And that process from not being able to record a guitar or bass or something or sing to be able to record it so it sounds reasonable is a shortcut which is invaluable. I mean, it took me years, really, a good couple of years, doing it a lot to get it to that stage. And that's something that I can teach. That's something that I can, because I've been through it, I can give examples of the main barriers you're going to come up against when it comes to teaching, I suppose. So it's such a critical thing to learn to do if you want to record your own guitar things and put them to drum machines, or record real drums, which I don't really do that often. But there's all sorts of hacks which you have to know, which I didn't. I mean, I looked on YouTube for guidance, but there really wasn't any. I was quite surprised. I guess it's something personal to everyone, or it's something which people can't describe, which I think I can. I can give it a go. I mean, I can definitely. I'm a pretty practical person, so without doubt, I can show you what happened to me in my journey recording audio. And the shortcuts. I mean, at the end of the day, what it's about is, when you're playing music or recording music, it's your taste level. It's, to be brutally honest, it's, if you can listen to your favorite band and it's well recorded, and strive to make something sound like that, copy it, synthesize it, then your taste is the music you listen to, let's say. So if you want to start recording guitars and basses and things, and recording acoustic guitars and singing and whatever else, percussion, whatever else you want to record, is if you have your favorite bands and they sound polished and they sound professionally done, you know that because that's why you like them. So you have that taste in you, but the know-how to make your stuff even sound reasonable is a process of taste elimination, let's put it that way. You've got to be honest with your ears. Like when I first recorded my first audios, a bit of bass, a bit of guitar. And you have to learn how to play bass, by the way. It's so handy, and it's very easy if you're a guitarist as well. But there is a technique to that. It took me years actually, but that's because I was not thinking about it properly. But you have to be honest with your recordings. Like my recordings when I was recording audio was so brutally bad. I was disgusted with myself. But that's part of the process. If you want to get better and you know what better is, then you have to go through that. And there is a process, there is a truth. That's what I like to say. There's a truth about this, so that is non-negotiable. And the truth is, you know how bad it sounds or you know how good it sounds comparative to what you would call good, your favorite bands and stuff. So it's just a matter of listening to it and going, yeah, I can see that doesn't sound anywhere near where I want it to be. So as long as you've got that desire to want to improve and you're not fooling yourself into thinking, oh, well, I'm brilliant, because we all think we're brilliant at some point, or just liking your stuff, then yeah, it is possible to do this stuff. And when you're sitting in a computer and you've got a little audio interface and your guitar and a drum machine, the whole process of how to write stuff is another truth. I struggled with it for years. I'll give you an example. Now I know drums were a big problem for me because I program a drum beat up, of course, but it sounds like a drum beat. It sounds like a programmed computer drum beat. Now, in hindsight, I can tell you that if I'd have had a drum sampler program and I could play MIDI files, a decent drum sampler program that sounded good to my ears, and MIDI files, in other words, performances that have been played by real musicians, like Superior Drummer, it's basically a sampler. You play a keyboard note and it plays the drum back. It plays the drum note back. But with MIDI files played by professional drummers, they play the drum beat on an electronic kit, and the software, all music software, records the MIDI of that performance. It doesn't record the actual audio. It records when they hit the bass drum, when they hit the hi-hat, when they hit the snare drum. So basically what you end up with is a professional sounding groove, right? When you've got a professional sounding groove that plays decent drums, good drums, it's a game changer. You can write demos, you can write songs to the groove, which is the way I work. Is I listen to a groove and I kind of interpret the feel of the groove. Everyone does this when you listen to music. You interpret the feel of the groove, and I write a riff, a guitar riff, maybe a bass line or something. You just play with it for as long as playing with it exists. In other words, you jam to it. You jam to it for a year. You jam to it for a day, one day. It all comes together. And that little riff that lasts 6 seconds or 7 seconds or 3 minutes is the right riff for that groove. And this is important. So you've taken say you're in a rehearsal room and a drummer plays a groove and you play a guitar part, and it works, and that's the beginning of a song. It's the same thing with working with MIDI drumming. If it's a real drummer, he's got real feel, good or bad. But you take that, you feel it, and you write a good guitar riff or a good bass line, and it works. That little segment, that 6 second or 2 bars or whatever it is, it works really well. And then you've got your basis to a song. That's how it works for me. Creating demos and creating ideas, that's how it works. The other important thing, of course, is how your guitar sounds. Are you recording it with a guitar on an amp and a microphone? A little bit more stressful, because there's all sorts of other things you've got to take into consideration, like recording good guitar sounds. What constitutes a good guitar sound? Ooh, there we go. If you're using soft synthesizers, in other words, sounds that are in a software program on the computer, when you play the guitar, is the sound coming out straight away, or is there any delay, a latency? If there's latency, that's another issue. So that's another problem. So I use an external device which has all the sounds in it, which there is no latency, but it's a digital device, but it's a very good one. So all my sounds are instantaneous, and I've gone through and I've listened to the different sounds on this device, and I've picked the one which I like, and I've gone through again and fiddled with it a little bit. Don't fiddle with them too much generally. I have a sound that I like, and it's taken me a while to zero in on my sounds that I like, that suit me. This takes time, you just have to fiddle around a bit. Now, the sounds that you like, are they the best sounds for the song, for the drum track for the drum sounds? This all takes fiddling around. When I started, I had terribly recorded drums from drum synthesizers, or terrible, genuinely awful. I will play you some, they're really funny, and terribly recorded guitar sounds, and terribly recorded bass sounds. All these things, you listen to it and you listen back and you think, oh my god, that was awful. But I did it. You have to do this. This is part of it. You have to do it. If you want to get better, you've got to keep doing it. Just sit with what you would call a decent drum sound, the decent drum file, whatever, computerized or real drum or whatever it is, and sit and play with that groove. Don't think, I'm going to write a song, just play. When you get bored, pick another one. That's what I did for a long time. Just jamming along to these grooves, trying to feel the groove in the guitar riff. You hit something you like, record it. There you go. That's how you make demos. That's how I make my demos. Put a bass line to it. There's an art to that. There is an art to that, which I like to think that I've kind of sort of mastered, but I'm learning all the time. We always are. Thing is, I've done that. You can judge. You can say I've done it well or I haven't done it well. The engineering side of it, making it all sound work with your nice speakers or your speakers, that's maybe where I'm stuck at the moment. I'll play something, record something and listen to it back on my nice monitors. Most monitors sound pretty nice, and that sounds really good. You'll get to the stage where you'll find something and you'll go, wow, that's really good. Contextually, regarding what it actually sounds like, this is what I've found. to the standard of a record, say, that you like, you'll listen to it. I don't compare my recordings to properly mastered songs and stuff, which I should do more of. That's probably where I went wrong, is that I didn't take the advice and have a copy of a really good recorded professional song in my recording software, so I can just flip from my recording to a properly recorded song and then compare and then adjust to it. I didn't do that, and I think that could have been an issue for me. But yeah, so my songs, they're kind of they sound good to me, but when I put them in context of putting them on a laptop and listening to it through a laptop, or especially a phone, I'm having massive issues with that at the moment. Still learning about that. They sound terrible. So that's the art of the engineer, which I'm still learning. I'd like to think that I'm getting better at it, but that is where I've reached my talent limit at the moment. I've reached my talent limit, and I cannot seem to get past it. So I'm probably I'm looking for a producer. Probably gonna look for a producer, but it just, it can't be just, no disrespect to Dave, but Dave down the road, it's got to be a producer that knows where I'm going, I can probably produce someone else pretty well, but my own stuff, I think I'm not sure. Maybe I should just work harder and harder, but I seem to have been doing this for a while now, and it's not paying off yet. So if I were to be in a professional recording studio for the past 20 years, I'd know instantly what I was doing wrong. But at the moment, I don't work with anyone. I just sit on my own. I find it very difficult to work with other people writing songs, because when I write something, it flows so quickly that it's just out there almost immediately, and 99% of the time after that is trying to perfect it, or 75% of it is trying to mix it. So not having the benefit of being in a production house where they know what's going on with the levels, with the frequencies and stuff, they can judge it because they're working on different stuff all the time. I'm not. I'm stuck in my little world, and that's where I need to go to get better. That's what I need to do to move forward. I've reached my technical limit. There you go. So I hope this was informative. Go to the website. I do want to teach. I have taught. I'm a good teacher. I'll teach what you need to know. Not what is irrelevant. Cut to the chase, as it were. So go to the website. Come see me.